Coleridge's view of nature. This presentation is about how Coleridge's view of nature is different from Wordsworth's view of nature. Romantic era started at the end of 18th century and remained throughout 19th century. Romantic age is considered as a reaction against 18th century neoclassics, which is all about reason or rationality. It has adopted medieval subjects like supernaturalism, but it differs from both eras in a way that Romantics believed, especially Coleridge, that there is a magic in nature and it is mysterious to some extent, but reason and logic has its importance too. The start of Romantic Age is associated with the time 1798 when the first volume of Lyrical Ballad was published. Many poems in this lyrical ballad were from Wordsworth. Coleridge contributed his only one poem, The Rime of an Ancient Mariner, in this paper. In the beginning of Romantic Age, both poets collaborated and worked together. As romantics, they discussed things at length and held same beliefs regarding poetry and nature on some extent, such as they both believed that nature's role in poetic creativity is essential and nature holds divinity in it. Both stressed on the usage of imagination and emotions when it comes to producing art. They both sought inspiration from nature for producing poetry. But their very approach towards nature differs from each other. Wordsworth believed that poetry is spontaneous overflow of feelings. According to him, these feelings are not related with the political or social life of people, but rather they determine human life, which is based on values, and these values come from natural life. Wordsworth took attention away from the political and social areas toward nature or rustic ways of life. However, Coleridge took attention entirely away from the real world and went into the realm of nature, which is full of mysteries and magic. For instance, the mariner does not belong to 18th century. He can be thousands years old and he is not the part of any society, but rather this mariner alone somewhere in the middle of an ocean is away from the ordinary life or society. He exists only in the realm of mind, not in the real world. Coleridge believed nature always reflects human mind. Human mind is the creation of nature, and whatever principles that work in nature work in human mind too. For example, when an ancient mariner disturbs the balance of nature by killing the bird, he starts having visions of terror, horrible sights. His mind starts tormenting him psychologically. His psychic pain is reflected in the lines when poet says, "Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink." These words depict more of his mental agony than physical. When he blesses sea snake, his mental state changes, and then his surrounding changes as well. This shows that Coleridge believes there is a connection between nature and human mind. Whatever a mariner feels is reflected through his surroundings. Wordsworth poetry is concerned with the ordinary, everyday world, rustic life, which he turned into extraordinary by the help of his imagination and memory. For example, when he visited Tintern Abbey for the first time, it was simple and ordinary scenery for him. But when he went there for the second time, his memories of the last visit helped him to seek meaning from those beauteous forms. On the other hand, for Coleridge, nature is extraordinary and mysterious. Through his mind or imagination, he turned those mysteries into ordinary, relatable subjects. Wordsworth wanted to explore everyday subjects and give them a romantic or extraordinary coloring. By contrast, Coleridge wanted to give the supernatural a feeling of everyday reality. It is said that when one reads Wordsworth, he starts thinking, but Coleridge's work induces feelings in his reader's mind. Extraordinary phenomena start making sense. For instance, Ancient Mariner is a mystery. We don't know his time period or the reason of his journey, and we don't know why he killed the bird. There are many questions regarding Mariner which are unanswered by the poet, and that makes him mysterious and extraordinary. But Coleridge turned him into ordinary man, or something ordinary man can relate with, by making him thirsty and afraid. His actions and the way his mind works are the traits of a common man. For Wordsworth, nature is the source of pleasure. By being close to it, one can achieve sublime or blessed mood. But for Coleridge, it is not the outer world, but the human mind which is the source of pleasure, and the only way to achieve it is through thoughts and imagination. In all of Coleridge's poems, his characters are mysterious, and things which happen to them are also some sort of magical. This shows Coleridge believes that certain things in nature, or mysterious things in nature, happen to us, and it changes us in a different ways. For example, a mariner from ignorant man turns into pantheist. In the same way, wedding guest also changes his attitude from listening to Mariner's incident. So, a Wordsworth work urges man to look out for divinity in nature. However, Coleridge believes nature shows its divine power to man in its own way. Wordsworth was concerned with a familiar world or a known world. Coleridge was more concerned with unfamiliar world or mysterious world, and how it makes its place in man's life and then becomes familiar to him. Coleridge stressed that nature is difficult to understand because its various phenomena are not crystal clear, and we cannot explain everything with the help of rationality. Wordsworth, by talking about simple, natural way of life, explains the principle of life and gives suggestion to make life simple. On the other hand, Coleridge emphasizes that life is complex and it cannot be simple or understood completely.